This is Behind the Plate, a program in which I will be sitting down with restaurant owners, managers, servers, and bartenders to hear their stories and find out how they got to where they are today. I wanted to start with someone who kind of had a hero's journey from here in Jackson to New York and beyond, and then back to Mississippi. Today I'll be speaking with Chef Hunter Evans of Elvie's in Jackson to find out how he chose his career path, who pushed him to pursue it, and why he came back to Mississippi to set up shop. Welcome, Chef Hunter Evans from Elvie's in Jackson, and I'm really thankful that you're here for our very first episode of Behind the Plate.
Awesome.
Thank you for agreeing to do this. So
yeah, of
I'm
course.
glad you're here.
Of course.
So I want to start out, the Behind the Plate is, to get your story, and I want to start out with your childhood in Jackson, like growing up in Jackson. Where did you have any hobbies? Did you know what you wanted to be when you grew up? What kind of student were you?
I think, so I grew up just kind of right over in a neighborhood off County Line Road. I mean, it all kind of makes sense now. I loved watching the Food Network, but that was just like, maybe a hobby, maybe the TV I watched. Didn't ever think of it as a career.
Okay.
I loved playing basketball. I was always outside. School was, something I felt, everyone has to do. I didn't love it. There were some things I did love, some teachers I liked, but I wasn't in the books and the homework, all the time. I was, how quickly can I get outside to play with all my friends? So I feel like a normal childhood, lots of playing, lots of, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not big a fan on school, but
Yeah.
all right.
Maybe I wasn't very good at it. There wasn't too many interests,
Yeah, nothing really sparked your interest like math or science or.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I think maybe the art stuff,
Yeah.
creative writing I liked, art classes I liked.
Great.
Everything else kind of felt just,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Well, you've spoken a lot about your grandmother, Elveretta May Good. That's why you have a restaurant called Elvie's,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And you've spoken a lot about her influence on you, but I want to know more about her. Like, what type of person was she? And how often did you get to go see her?
Yes, I think a lot of my childhood, she lived in Metairie, right outside of New Orleans. And so a lot of vacation and traveling was going to see her. Only 3 hours away. I think also that was a lot of exposure to restaurants and food and stuff that didn't click till later, but that, looking back, I think is where it started.
Right.
We didn't go out to eat a lot. I feel like in New Orleans you can find and get as good, if not the same, or better products that restaurants are cooking. You can go find, shops selling crab and fish and shrimp. So we just cooked at home.
Yeah.
Memories of her, not so much like she's telling me how to do a recipe, but kind of running through the kitchen, and there's always shrimp. People are always peeling shrimp. There's artichokes and crab and just food being around. It was like a very central part of our time together, and I guess spending time with her and being in New Orleans. She was just, really kind and sweet. I remember she had one of those old chairs that had the remote control that you could we would play with, me and my brothers. You could it would lift you up, I guess, when you're too old to,
Yeah.
And just kind of crawling in that and playing with her and sitting in her lap. And so those are kind of the memories that aren't food specific.
Yeah.
Other than that, we were just kind of running around her house, being crazy. But yeah, she was very sweet.
Yeah. Your stories about your grandmother and other interviews that I've read really speak to me personally, because I have a good grandma or had a good grandma, and have just, it kind of mirrors how I felt about my grandma, and I've always wanted to open my own restaurant about called Maxine's.
Yeah.
But I don't have the talent that you do. Or, but tell me about, because another thing that I found in one of your interviews was mentioning her spinach Madeleine. And my grandma used to make spinach Madeleine. Did it go very quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I remember, yeah, so I think a lot of those food memories and a lot of stuff that I like to cook are kind of those, like, I guess that's the beauty of food, of like kind of remembering, or like you have these instances where, I remember this and that. And spinach Madeleine was always one of those Thanksgiving meals, stuffed artichokes, that kind of makes its way onto the Elvie's menu, kind of some nods to her, kind of nods to the old classics, maybe just kind of how I experience or how I remember, or how I want to kind of
honor her.
Yeah, honor her, but kind of also bring this new, maybe reimagined stuff
Twist
with
to it.
with local farmers, techniques I learned in culinary school and whatnot. So it's kind of a combination of a lot of that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to your education, you went to Ole Miss first. And was it hospitality management that you majored in?
I did, yep.
Okay. So at that point, did you know that you wanted to be a chef and do cooking for a living?
Yeah, so I guess ending high school, you're kind of like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I had committed to a really small school in Florida, St. Augustine, Florida, called Flagler.
Okay.
And I kind of grew up preacher kid, not really, but maybe I kind of felt that way, and super involved in like youth group and whatnot. And so I kind of was like, I'll study religion, youth ministry. But that kind of, or I had the realization that I wouldn't be good at it. Like, I'd be so bad at it. And maybe I have other talents or gifts and passions that I could pursue. And then that's when it kind of clicked. All these like, okay, Food Network, like all these things I love. I love cooking at home. I love watching, food shows. And I spend the night at a friend's house. Like, I was that kid that would get up and like cook with breakfast with their mom.
That's so sweet.
It was like fun to cook like pancakes for all, everybody, or like just hanging out in the kitchen with her, or that's probably not other high school kids are doing that. But so then it kind of clicked, like, okay, maybe, and then it was like, okay, Mom and Dad, I don't really want to go to college. Like, I think that'll be a waste of money. They're like, not going to college doesn't sound great either. So, I was like, well, I'll just cook. They didn't love that.
Yeah.
So I had a friend there, and he was in hospitality management. So then it kind of started coming together. Okay, I can't cook immediately, but this sounds like a good foundation, something that if I really want to do this would be a good exposure to not just cooking, but if I'm going to run a business. And then, so while I was there, I thought, well, I'll just cook and, a part-time job and whatnot.
Right. Where did you work?
I started at Bourrée.
Bourrée?
Yeah, one of John Currance's restaurants. Just frying crawfish tails and, learning kind of the whole world of the restaurant industry.
Right.
And then I really had a professor who was there in the hospitality management program who had gone to the CIA. His name was Chef Lee Craven.
Okay.
And he was amazing. He'd kind of been through this industry and was super honest. Was telling, was just vulnerable with us of like, this industry is hard.
Yeah.
There are some dark things about it. There's some really amazing things about it. And we kind of connected because he knew outside that I was still cooking. And so he was like, you should go to the CIA. This is what you want to do. You should keep going.
Yeah.
So he kind of, really pushed me.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. So tell me about your time in New York, CIA in Hyde Park, New York. But you lived in the city some as well, right?
So yeah, the school is about 70 miles up the Hudson River.
Right.
And so I lived, like, they have dorms and all that. Stayed there. And then on the weekends, I would go into the city and work at, 3 Michelin star restaurants. Just email chefs, hey, I'll come work for free. just I just want to watch and get exposure and
Right.
maybe meet somebody. Because after school, I was looking to move into Manhattan and work. So I was like, maybe I can, it's me getting exposure, but me also kind of like interviewing places without
telling them.
telling them, without sitting down, but like
Right.
actually getting to see how things work.
Yeah.
So moved there, and that was kind of a financial, struggle. But there was a couple of things that were really amazing. Chef Craven, my professor, was like, I'm an alumni there, so I can give you, I think they had a small referral scholarship.
Okay.
Mississippi Hospitality and Restaurant Association also had some scholarship, and they helped me.
Yes.
So it was like, I didn't know, and I feel like a lot of people don't know maybe what y'all do, but there are some, since that day, I was like really appreciative of what y'all do and, why y'all are around. Because that just kind of helped me push. Yes, I'm still going to go into debt, and
Yeah.
I maybe paid it off last year.
Oh,
like
nice.
10 years later.
Congratulations.
But it was like, okay, I can get some money. Like there's some resources, and there are people to support the younger people in this industry.
Yeah.
And so school was amazing. I feel like I really benefited going to Ole Miss because I got a lot of exposure, worked in the industry, knew that that is what I wanted to do. So rolling into CIA, I was like, I'm giving this everything I got. I worked while I was there. I stayed after, talked to professors, and there was a lot of kids that were just kind of partying. This was their college, and I'm like, guys, like I'm taking so much money out. I'm sure y'all are, and I feel like y'all are kind of just blowing it.
Yeah.
So people always ask me, what is it worth it, school or not? I did kind of both. I worked and then realized this is what I want to do, and I feel like CIA kind of jumpstart and really gave me a lot of confidence to, okay, I can move to New York City and cook and hold my own, and you just get out of school what you put in, and I put in a lot of hours, a lot of extra time. So I loved it. It was amazing, and I love New York City, and it gave me that opportunity to be close to it and continue to work there.
When you moved to the city, where did you live?
I lived in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Right, like south entrance of Prospect Park. It was like a Jamaican, Haitian neighborhood.
Yes.
I'm sure now it's like redone, and it's like they were building all sorts of new stuff. So I had like, the commute. I'd get off at midnight, and I wouldn't make it home until 1.
Yep.
And, but I loved it. I read on the subways, and,
What was your biggest challenge when you were there?
I think the biggest challenge was being away from Jackson, Mississippi, my family, friends. I really just kind of moved there. I was by myself, living by myself. Had restaurant friends in the industry. I had other students that I went to school with in the city. I'd meet up, but we're all kind of working crazy hours trying to, cut our teeth and like, make the most of it. So yeah, probably just, the South, the culture of the South, the things that make the South unique. Definitely missed a lot of that, the food and.
See, I too went to New York and waited a bunch of tables, and I loved it, but I also found it to be very lonely, and I missed the South. There's just something about that that you just get drawn back to.
Yeah.
Was that what was there anything that was the catalyst to be like, I am going back home?
So that kind of was starting. I was dating my now wife. So after Ole Miss, I moved to Jackson, and I worked for 6 months just to save up.
Right.
Because I knew it was going to be expensive. I quit smoking cigarettes because I know they're going to be expensive. So I quit. It was like, I came back to like prepare. Met my wife. Tunnel vision, like I'm going to do this one thing. So we didn't really talk. She moved to North Carolina. I was in New York, and we just kind of kept in touch. We were writing letters, and it was like, I don't really write letters to other people. You know, it was very special.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, then I chose to move into the city and kind of like, okay, I'm still going to stay for a little longer. And so I think that was a big part of it, as well as missing family and whatnot. And then I lived right by the Brooklyn Library. And so I kind of started asking questions of, okay, what is Mississippi cuisine? Who used to cook here? What was the history? And so I started reading books at the library on kind of the South and the foodways. And that just kind of really, I guess, progressed into like, okay, I want to move back there and like figure this out.
Yeah.
You know, what is Mississippi cuisine and food?
So I love that. That's an awesome story.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first thing that you ate when you came back? Or what food did you miss the most while you were there?
Trying to think. I moved back on my wife's birthday.
Oh,
Trying
what
to
a
think
great
if
present.
I know if we went anywhere or we ate anywhere. I think definitely like my mom growing up in New Orleans, going to New Orleans a lot, like po' boys, you know. And I would visit a lot to New Orleans because I could get a direct flight. I would work the night shift, go to my apartment, change, and then I would just take the longest subway and like get on the plane at 6 a.m.
Where did you fly out of?
I think it was usually LaGuardia.
Yeah.
But I would take the longest train, so I didn't have to like sit there, and I could like read. But New Orleans was the easiest, quickest, like direct way to South, and that felt like home. So yeah, po' boys and fried oysters and, you know, shrimp.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Did you have a plan when you returned home? Like you said you were studying, so did you have like a...
I was talking to a couple people in the industry, a couple of chefs, and they were planning a restaurant that I thought was going to be opening when I got here. That fell through, and so I was kind of like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And then I had mutual friends who was working at Lou's Full Serve, and he was like, you should come talk to Lou, set up a meeting, and was there for 4.5 years. And that was kind of my first, I guess, shot at working my way up into management and kind of helping run a kitchen, making, you know, some creative choices and whatnot. So that time there was amazing. Lou is a great boss, restaurant owner. So I learned a lot from him.
When did you decide that you were ready, or realize that you were ready to open your own place?
I think first time I started working in Oxford as a college student.
Okay.
I saw John Currents open and have multiple restaurants, and I always knew that's what I want to do. I think it was, I guess, towards the end of or maybe 4 years into Lou's, I got to know the neighborhood of Belhaven. My wife and I moved into Belhaven, and there's a new development that was happening, and they were looking for tenants and people and businesses, and it just kind of piqued my interest of, oh, maybe this could happen, you know. And so kind of just kept going for it, and it was a struggle, but it happened.
Yeah, January of 2020 is when you opened.
Yep.
Just in time.
Yeah, but even just like small business, like looking for loans, and you know, going to 7 banks and getting denied, and you know, I'm young, I get it, you know, it's like, you know, but finally made it happen. Yeah, then 6 weeks later, the pandemic showed up.
Well, you made it, and I'm really, really glad, because Elvie's is excellent, and we love going there, my husband and I tell everybody to go there and get the duck fat fries at least.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to your grandma, Elvie.
Yeah.
Do you think she would be proud of you?
Yeah, I think so.
And if you could tell her something, or let her know something, or say something to her now, what would you say?
I think I just, um, I guess maybe I'm really grateful for like the time visiting, getting to kind of be with her, cooking around her, watching her. Yeah, I think, it's interesting. We opened up January 31st, 2020, and she passed away January 31st, but like years prior.
Okay.
So it was pretty emotional. I think on opening night I was walking around like just crying at tables and like,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what is going on. But it was just like a lot of,
It's
it was
a
like
lot.
the long road to open. We finally made it. It's people are here. People are laughing. So yeah, I think just I'm glad to kind of carry that story, I guess,
Good.
So.
All right, so fun fact time. What is your favorite go-to food to make at home?
Go-to food. So I guess I don't know. If there's one, like one dish.
Something, or you don't, something that you always liked it.
I cook a lot of breakfast at home
Okay.
because I'm at the restaurant most nights. So I cook a lot of eggs. Go-to snack is peanut butter.
Yes.
Because
What brand?
I like the crunchy. My wife doesn't, so I just get the smooth. But work a long shift, it's so easy. I'm tired. I don't want to cook. It's easy, like the little pretzel filled peanut butter things.
Just protein.
Yeah, I love those things. I just got an uni pizza grill. Those like tabletop things. So I kind of took a deep dive into like homemade pizza and doughs and crust. And my wife also loves pizza, so it's a fun like experience. We can sit on the back deck and like cook a pizza, and then we kind of scarf it down. We have a bunch of toppings. You can make your own. And then, that's become really fun. Yeah.
Okay. So tea, sweet or unsweet?
Like sweet to like 3/4 and then unsweet and a lemon.
Okay. And a lemon.
Like a full sweet, it's like a lot for me.
Yeah. Full Southern sweet is a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I cut it a little.
Is there any food that you will not eat? Like, I hate blue cheese. I've tried it many, many times. I know I should like it.
I don't love bitter things.
Bitter things.
Like broccolini, disgusting.
Okay.
Radicchio, disgusting.
Arugula?
Great.
Okay.
Black coffee, great. I don't know why. Campari, like Negroni, great. Bitter vegetables, like I think it's the worst thing. I mean, I'll cook with it and like because I know people like it.
Yeah.
But like I think it is the worst.
Okay. What is the best brand of mayonnaise?
Duke's.
Told you. So what do you have on your plate? Projects, plans, personal activities?
Got Elvie's just running day to day. So in the development that I kind of mentioned, the Belhaven Town Center is where they're calling it. They opened the brewery across the street from us. So next to us, they're kind of working on this space called the Terrace, outdoor courtyard, Mayday ice cream by some really awesome friends. And then we're gonna open an outdoor bar. Really cool, everything kind of on tap, kind of like fast casual, really cool space, like open deck. You can come up there with kids, dog. There's a little stage for some music. So cool, like craft cocktail, affordable, and with a kind of cool, everything's on tap.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I look forward to that. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for speaking with us today for Behind the Plate. We will be seeing you at Elvie's on the regular because I've mentioned that I like those duck hash browns. and that gin fizz that you had.
Yeah.
It's so good. You can follow them on social media at Elvie's Restaurant or check them out online, elviesrestaurant.com.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.